And I give the floor to the representative of Algeria.
Thank you, Madam President. At the outset, I would like to thank you for convening this meeting. We would also like to thank Mr. Assistant Secretary General Khalid Khiari for his comprehensive briefing. This briefing leaves no doubt that the main obstacle preventing peace in the Middle East is the Israeli occupation, which continues to undermine Security Council resolutions, including Resolution 2334. And it converts these resolutions to papers that are archived and out of memory. Madam President, since the 7th of October 2023, the total number of deaths as a result of the Israeli aggression against Gaza has reached 56,500 martyrs and 133,419 injured persons. These numbers are not just statistics. They are names and dreams that have been terminated by weapons that do not distinguish between the body of a human being and a stone wall, and do not distinguish between a child and a fighter. More than 18,000 children have been murdered. 12,400 women have been buried under the rubble. 4,000 older persons have been killed while waiting for a bite of food or medicine. 11,200 missing persons, including 4,700 children and women until today. Who can convince us that these people represented a threat to the security of occupation, of the occupation? What military doctrine allows the bombardment of children and babies? This is killing for the sake of killing. That's the mantra of the occupier and the charter of the criminal. And while bodies are torn apart, stomachs of the Gazans remain empty. Starvation is being used as a weapon, and malnutrition has affected every single Palestinian in Gaza, to the extent that some children have faced hunger not because of a lack of milk, but because of a surplus of crime. Who can convince us that baby formula is subject to military considerations? It is a lack of humanity. And while the famine proceeds, the dignity of Palestinians are humiliated at the gates of what are called the aid distribution centers that have been transformed into death traps. More than 600 Palestinians have been murdered and 4,000 others have been injured during their pursuit for food. And however, despite this, some occupation officials very audaciously state that the entry of aid into Gaza is a disgrace that must end, not just suspended. And as the Secretary General has indicated, the pursuit of food must not be a death sentence. Madam President, we would like an answer, an explanation from those who do not believe that it is yet time for ceasing this bloodshed. Those who do not believe that the time has come for a ceasefire and for an unconditional opening of the crossing points and the delivery of the assistance without humiliation and holding the murderers accountable who have converted Gaza into a cemetery for childhood, justice and conscience. The healing of Gaza is not through painkillers. but through responsible collective measures that we take together, not out of the kindness of our hearts, but out of the duty and our humanity. Madam President, in the West Bank, the situation is not better than that in Gaza. Israel has not had enough, but it wants to erase our memory and to bury the narrative and to continue the humiliation. The laws are legislating the expropriation, and the UNRWA is the last witness of the continuing Nakba. People are being killed and exterminated, and the Council here issues resolutions that are not implemented. Resolution 2334 that has announced that the settlements are not legal is being humiliated every day on the soil of Palestine. In only 3 months, the reports have documented the following: 47 Palestinians were killed by the gunfire of the occupying forces, including children, and 1,224 injured persons include 223 people who have been hit by live fire, including 231 children. More than 2,380 excursions and arrests, and 1,500 detainees, including 76 children. 70 Palestinians have entered the prisons of the Israel without trial, and more than 700 Palestinian buildings have been demolished in the West Bank, leading to the displacement of 599 people, including 308 children. As for settlement activity, its ghost is extending. 6,570 settlement units were promoted in Area C, and 22 new settlements have been approved, and the policy of land registration has been revived not to confirm rights but to erase rights, and the violence of settlers has reached unprecedented levels. Under the protection of soldiers, they kidnap children, as has happened in Beit Forig, and they burn land and attack Palestinians. And during just the last week, the UN has documented an attack by settlers, including armed persons accompanied by Israeli forces, against the village of Kafr Malik, where 3 Palestinians have been murdered and others have been injured, and homes were set ablaze while their residents were inside. What kind of peace is this that is built on the rubble of homes and built on confiscation? The land of Palestine, all of Palestine, has become an open cemetery, and the Security Council is silent, unable to state anything. Silence is no longer wisdom, it is complicity. Either we protect international law or announce officially the death of international law. Madam President, civilized nations are the ones that respect the law. As for nations that use their power, their law is the law of the jungle, where the strong eats the weak. Therefore, we are facing blatant disregard for international law in the Middle East because of the continued barbaric conduct of the Israeli occupier and the effects of this will not only affect the Middle East but will extend beyond until no one respects the law or international agreements. The question of Palestine, before it is buried, although this seems elusive, it is in fact resolving the Palestinian issue is an urgent necessity, not only to enable the Palestinian people of exercising their inalienable rights, but to protect the international order. Therefore, we must all realize this truth and work to realize it, and let the conference on the two-state solution be a starting point for a serious and credible process that leads to the establishment of a Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital. Thank you, Madam President.
I thank the representative of Algeria for his statement.